Hello and welcome to Ms. Lowry's third grade ELA or classroom. For this lesson, you're going to need a pencil or some type of writing utensil and a notebook or a blank sheet of paper. Today, we're going to start our lesson with our word study component. Good readers use clues in the text and visuals to find the meaning of unfamiliar words. So they look for word parts, they look for examples, definitions within the sentence, visuals with labels, and synonyms and antonyms. There are 5 steps we want to take when we're looking at a context clues question. We want to read the sentence or paragraph with the unknown, unfamiliar, or multiple meaning word. We then want to determine clues from the text that's going to help us determine the meaning of that unknown, unfamiliar, or multiple meaning word. From there, we're going to create our own definition or meaning of the word as it is used in the sentence. We're going to then eliminate 2 answer choices, and then we're going to choose the best answer choice from the remaining choices. Our word study objective comes from ELA 3.3b. Today I can use context within and beyond a sentence to determine the meaning of unfamiliar words and multiple meaning words. My first step is going to always be to read my selection. 2 neighbors. There lived 2 neighbors who were as different as the sea and the mountains. Maria was selfish, Lucia was giving. Maria and Lucia went for a walk. They saw a beautiful gold and green bird. The bird sat on a branch and watched the girls. That bird would be mine, said Maria. Maria hurried after the bird and Lucia followed. The bird landed on a branch next to 2 purple and silver birds that were more beautiful than it. I then want to look for clues to help me determine the meaning. The question I should ask myself is, what clues can you find that help you figure out the meaning of the word selfish? So I want to go back in the text and reread where I read the word selfish. So I see that word in paragraph 1. There lived 2 neighbors who were as different as the sea and the mountain. Maria was selfish and Lucia was giving. So from that paragraph, I want to pull out some clues. So the words that I pulled out were as different, Maria was selfish, and Lucia was giving. From there, I want to determine my own definition or meaning. So my definition or meaning that I came up with is not giving or does not like to share. Because in the text it says that they were different from each other, and Lucia was giving. So if Maria is different than Lucia and she's giving, the opposite of giving means that you're not giving or you don't like to share with someone. So next I'm going to read my question. Read the sentence. Maria was selfish. Which word means the same as selfish? So I know selfish means that they're not giving or you don't like to share. So the first one I'm going to get rid of is A, forgetful. Because forgetful, it means that you forget something, not necessarily that you don't like to share something. The next one I'm going to get rid of is D, delighted. Because if you're delighted, that means you're happy about something. And selfish means that you don't like to share with other people. So now I have B, proud, or C, unsharing. So I know that prefix un means not. So C means not sharing. So I have to think about it. Does selfish mean not sharing or being proud? I determined that the meaning of selfish is unsharing. So now you're going to try one on your own. Remember, the first step is always to read the sentence or paragraph. Look for clues from the text that will help you determine the meaning. Create your own definition or meaning. Eliminate 2 answer choices. And then choose the best answer. So now you're going to try one on your own. First, you're going to read the selection, a special touch. From there, you're going to look for clues to determine the meaning of the word still. Create your own definition and meaning. Read the question, eliminating 2 answer choices, then choosing your best answer choice from your remaining 2. All right, let's check our answer. A special touch. Mom, Harry is cracking the eggshells, yelled Gina from the back porch. Mother walked through the living room. She gazed at the brightly colored paper flowers that sat on the rug. Gina had left them there when she made them earlier. When Mother reached the back door, her eyes widened. Her mouth dropped open. The porch, the children, and the chairs were covered with tiny bits of colorful paper called confetti and eggshells called cascarones that were broken into pieces. I know breaking cascarones on your head is fun. Next time, let's wait until the guests are here, Mother said with a smile. Mother walked back into the house. Gina and Henry looked at each other and smiled. They were glad Mother was not upset about the mess. The children worked together to hang the paper flowers. Soon they were all in place. As guests began to arrive, Henry noticed the floor. It was still covered with the confetti from the broken cascarones. He stared at the floor for a minute and smiled. So we want to look for clues from the text to help us determine the meaning. So I determined that the word still, the clues from the text that's helping me determine that meaning is covered with confetti. So I know that they did not clean it up. So the confetti is still there. The floor is still covered with the confetti. Because mom wasn't mad at them for having the confetti all over the floor, but they did not clean it up. So Henry noticed that the confetti was still on the ground after some time. So I'm determining that the meaning of still in this sentence is dealing with time. Read the sentence from paragraph 5. It was still covered with confetti from the broken cascarones. He stared at the floor for a minute and smiled. Which sentence uses the word still the same as it is used in the sentence above? A. The man was taking still pictures with his camera. B. We were still waiting for Trevor after the game was over. C. Our teacher asked the class to be still so we could hear her. D. Ella stood perfectly still as she waited for her name to be called. So the first one I'm going to eliminate is answer choice C. Our teacher asked the class to be still so we could hear her. So the teacher was asking them not to move. So it's not dealing with time. So C, I'm going to get rid of. The next one I'm going to get rid of is A. The man was taking still pictures with his camera. So the man was taking pictures, still pictures. I'm thinking that that also means not moving. So the images are not moving. So now we have B, we were still waiting for Trevor after the game was over. And D, Ella stood perfectly still as she waited for her name to be called. So I already determined that my meaning is dealing with time. So I'm going to look at answer choice B and D and see which one is dealing with time. Looking at that, answer choice B would be the correct answer because we are still waiting on Trevor. Time has passed. Let's go ahead and move into our reading lesson. Our reading lesson objective comes from ELA 3.8b. Today I can analyze the plot of a realistic fiction story. Let's review what a story plot is. So a story plot includes all of the actions in the story from the beginning to the end. The author introduces the plot at the beginning of the story by describing the characters and the setting. Next, the author is going to introduce some type of conflict or problem and includes a sequence of events that's going to help us develop that conflict. In the middle of the story, the sequence of events occurs that's leading to a solution to the conflict, and then it's followed by the resolution of the conflict at the end of the story. Today we're going to be reading the story Marisol McDonald Doesn't Match. Today as we read, I want you to pay close attention to the characters, the setting, the conflict, and how the conflict is resolved. My name is Marisol McDonald and I don't match. At least that's what everyone tells me. I play soccer with my cousin Tato and he says, Marisol, your skin is brown like mine, but your hair is the color of carrots. You don't match. Actually, my hair is the color of fire, I say, and I kick the ball over Tato's head and into the goal. My brother says, Marisol, those pants don't match that shirt. They clash. But I love green polka dots and purple stripes. I think they go great together. Don't you? I also love peanut butter and jelly burritos, and speaking Spanish, English, and sometimes both. Can I have a puppy? A furry sweet perrito? I ask my parents. Por favor? ¿Qué esas? Mommy says. Maybe, Dad says, smiling and winking. How is Tato and brother similar? I want you to use the question stem to help you answer this. Tato and brother both. What do they both do? Why do you think Dad is smiling and winking? I think Dad is smiling and winking because my teacher, Miss Apple, doesn't like the way I sign my name. Marisol McDonald, she says, this doesn't match. At school, we learn to print and use cursive, but not at the same time. But I like the way Marisol McDonald looks. At recess, Ollie and Emma want to play pirates, and Noah wants to play soccer. How about soccer playing pirates? I suggest. No way, they say. So I run off to play on the swings by myself. After recess, we have art, my favorite subject. I think my drawings surprise my friends. At lunch, Ollie walks over to me and scrunches his nose. A peanut butter and jelly burrito, he asks. I know, I say. It doesn't match, but it sure tastes good. Marisol, you couldn't match if you wanted to, Ollie says. Oh, yeah? I bet I can. Why does Marisol decide to match? Marisol decides to match because the next day I wake up and decide that today I, Marisol McDonald, will match. It's a little hard to find clothes that are all the same color. I play pirates with Ollie at recess, but it's not very fun. Why can't pirates play soccer anyway? I have a regular peanut butter and jelly sandwich at lunch, and the bread tastes mushy. After Marisol decided to match, she felt different. How did Marisol change when she decided to match? Marisol was blank before, but now she is blank. Even art class is a little bit boring. Marisol, Miss Apple says, what's wrong? This doesn't look like your usual work. I'm trying to match, I say with a frown. Why? Asks Miss Apple. I can't think of a single good reason. At the end of the day, Miss Apple hands me a note. I open it and it says, Marisol, I want you to know that I like you just the way you are, because the Marisol McDonald that I know is a creative, unique, bilingual, Peruvian, Scottish, American, soccer playing artist, and simply marvelous. Miss Tamiko Apple. I skip all the way home. Why did Marisol skip all the way home? Marisol skipped home because focusing in on this part of the text. Why is Miss Apple writing this letter to Marisol important to the plot? Miss Apple writing the letter is important to the story because when I wake up on a Saturday, I put on my pink shirt, my polka dot skirt, and my favorite hat, the one my abuelito brought me from Peru. At breakfast, I say, my name is Marisol McDonald, and I don't match because I don't want to. Bravo, says my mom. Good for you, says dad. Now let's go to the pound and get a puppy. When we get to the pound, there are big dogs and little dogs. There are dogs with long noses and dogs with smushed faces. There are chocolate colored puppies and smoke gray puppies and puppies the color of caramel. How will I ever choose? Then I see him. He has one floppy ear and one pointy ear, one blue eye and one brown eye. He is beautiful. What important event happens at this point of the story? Blank happens at this point of the story. I walk over and he leaps into my lap. I cuddle him and it sounds like he purrs. I think we found just the right dog for you, Marisol, Mommy says. My puppy is perfect. He's mismatched and simply marvelous, just like me. I think I'll name him Kitty. How does our realistic fiction story end? The story ends with today we're looking at story structure. Stories often have a similar story. The authors organize the plot in the way that will entertain us as the readers. So in the beginning, the events in the beginning include the conflict or the problem that the characters face. Then in the middle, we have events that show how the character is trying to solve that conflict. Then in the end, we have the events at the end that include the resolution or how the characters solve the conflict. So we're going to use the following graphic organizer to help us organize the story structure or the plot of the story. So when we think about the literary elements, the plot of the story, we want to first think about our characters. So we know we have major characters and we have minor characters. So in this story, our major character was Marisol. Our minor characters were Tato, Mommy, Daddy, Brother, Ollie, Noah, Emma, Miss Apple, and Marisol's puppy, Kitty. We then want to also think about the setting, where the story takes place. So a story can have many settings. It doesn't necessarily have to have one setting. So in this story, we had the setting of the school, which included the playground, her class, we had home, and we had the dog pound. So in the beginning of the story is when our character is introduced to a conflict. So we want to think about the conflict that the character faced in the story. So in this story, Marisol McDonald, the conflict the character faced in the story is that Marisol was tired of everyone telling her that she did not match. Then in the middle, the character tries to solve this conflict. So we have to think about the events that leads up to how the character is trying to solve this conflict. So the character tries solving her conflict by deciding to match, but she hated it. And in the end, our problem is resolved. So I want you to think about, how is our problem in Marisol McDonald doesn't match resolved? How is that problem solved? Now that you determined the resolution to our conflict in the story, let's look at some comprehension questions for the selection Marisol McDonald doesn't match. How does Marisol feel at the beginning of the story? A, she is upset at everyone for picking on her clothes. B, she is lively and enjoys being her mismatched self. C, she is concerned that no one likes to play the games she likes to play. Or D, she is amused that everyone thinks her artwork is different. Marisol's interaction with her teacher shows that A, she thinks Miss Apple is mean. B, Miss Apple is very encouraging. C, she doesn't like attention. Or D, Miss Apple is busy and does not have time to talk with students. Marisol decides to match mainly because A, she likes how matching looks. B, she wants to try something different. C, she was tired of everyone telling her she doesn't match. Or D, Miss Apple writes her a letter. Let's check our answer. How does Marisol feel at the beginning of the story? At the beginning of the story, Marisol is lively and enjoys being her mismatched self. So we know that at the beginning, Marisol was happy and content with being mismatched because despite what Tato and her brother said, she was okay with being her mismatched self. Marisol's interaction with her teacher shows that B, Miss Apple is very encouraging. Miss Apple encouraged Marisol to be her very own self when she wrote her that letter. She let Marisol know that nothing was wrong with her being mismatched. And the last one. Marisol decides to match mainly because C. She was tired of everyone telling her she doesn't match. So after her brother, Tato, and her classmates kept picking on her, she decided that she was going to match. Now let's move into our writing lesson. Our objective from reading comes from ELA 3.11 DI. Today I can identify the predicate of a simple sentence. The predicate of a simple sentence. Every simple sentence has two parts. The subject is one part of the sentence. The other part of the sentence is the predicate. The predicate is the part of a sentence that tells what the subject does or is. The predicate can be one word or more than one word. The complete predicate includes all the words in the predicate. Compound predicates are joined by conjunctions. So we're going to box in each simple predicate. We're then going to underline the complete predicate, circling the subject, and then if the sentence contains a compound predicate, we're going to write the word compound. The sun shines brightly and warms our skin. Our simple predicate is shines, but our complete predicate is going to be shines brightly and warms our skin. The subject of the sentence is the sun. Maria rubs sunscreen on her arms. Our simple predicate is rubs. Our complete predicate is rubs sunscreen on her arms. Our subject is Maria. Haley packs a picnic and bikes to the park. Packs is our simple predicate. Our complete predicate, however, is packs a picnic and bikes to the park. Our subject is Haley. Michaela plays with her dog. Our simple predicate is plays. Our complete predicate is plays with her dog. Our subject is Michaela. Children splash and swim in the water. Splash is our simple predicate. Our complete predicate is splash and swims in the water. Our subject is children. Everyone wants to be outside. Wants is our simple predicate. Wants to be outside is our complete predicate. And everyone is our subject. Now let's determine which one of these are a compound predicate. So number one is a compound predicate because it says shines brightly and warms our skin. So it's doing two things. The sun is doing, it's shining brightly and it's warming their skin. Number three is also a compound predicate because Haley packs a picnic and she bikes to the park. And lastly, number five, because the children splash and they swim in the water. Let's practice. So you're going to write each simple predicate. Then you're going to write the complete predicate for each sentence. If the sentence contains a compound predicate, I then want you to write compound. So again, in your notebook, you're going to number it 1 through 5. And for each sentence, you're going to determine what is the simple predicate, what is the complete predicate, and does this sentence contain a compound predicate? So I just want to say thank you for joining my reading and writing lesson for today. I hope everyone has a great day. Remember, stay safe and make great choices. Bye.